Over, asks Terence. Roger. Terence. 5x5. Okay, folks, I've got one light on at the minute. I've got a couple of other lights around here if we need them. I am, as you can see, in bed, for such as it is. Over here, let's see if we can do the... I am connected to the EcoFlow at the minute. I might just have to disconnect. Over here... No, never takes that first click. Oh, you can't see. Over here, there's a Tina girl. There she is on the bed. Hey, babe. Sorry I'm a little late, folks. I just made coffee and walked the dog. She was being a little bit stubborn. And then when I got back into the tent, I busted the door and had to, I just had to spend a couple of minutes refixing the doorway, clamping bits closed that normally are pegged, but that I'd bulldozed my way through and broken. Okay, okay, I'll just plug the phone back in. I don't want to turn it too far, we don't want too much light in that corner. Tina's here, she's okay, yeah. A little bit stubborn when it comes to walking at the minute, but hey babe, you're okay. Okay, now this is the TrampCast Special. Let's see whether I can prop myself up a little bit better. Like I said, folks, I'm in my tent, I'm in bed, it is night, it is dark. That was a deliberate choice, but might not have been the best choice, I don't know. But I was wanting to kind of try and include the those that are stateside a little bit more by not doing it like first thing in the morning, or you know, just try and keep it a little bit later, see if we can include more people. I don't know whether to hold the phone or whether to put it on its stand. But this is a TrampCast Special. So as well as being Valentine's Day, for anyone out there that's on their lonesome, I'm not, I got my girl. I'm in bed with my girl. We're going to do it doggy style. No, shush, don't say that. For anyone that's alone this Valentine's Day, you're welcome here, and yeah, hello. But as well as that, I was made truly homeless, by which I mean I'd been staying with a friend after being evicted from my apartment, illegally evicted. I stayed with a friend, and I guess I overstayed my welcome. And on the 14th of August, 2022, I guess that would have been, I was given an ultimatum and eventually asked to leave. So I climbed down the steps Sunday morning, Sunday, August the 14th, 2022. So that's 2.5 years ago. I climbed down those steps and into the wilds of Torrevieja, is the way that I've rehearsed saying this a few times now in the past. So today marks 2.5 years exactly of being homeless. And I just want to commemorate or commiserate the occasion. I did way back when I did my first TrampCast 001, that I point everyone to, and nobody actually watches because they look at it and see it's 2.5 hours long. I just watched it back this afternoon for the first time in a while. I want to run through my background, my backstory, who I am, how I became a homeless guy, how I became a tramp, an Englishman trapped by circumstance in Spain. Go through the whole story. And if I can do it somewhere between half an hour and 1 hour, in a more compact version, that would be good. Now, that doesn't mean that you guys are here now live. That doesn't mean that you're not welcome to chime in with questions. You're very, very welcome. All it means is I will maybe download this after the event, clip it, and re-upload an abbreviated and edited version for the masses, you know, for other people to catch up. I'm going to see whether we can go here. Tell me how we are for volume there. Is that okay? I'm always conscious that the microphone might be a little bit too far away. And then we're flaring with brightness as well. Volume is good. Cyanide Leech, that's a glorious name. It even took me a second or two to pass. I had to work out whether I was going with some kind of Welsh or Irish wording there. Cyanide Leech. That's fantastic. Welcome. I think that's the first time I've seen your name. I don't know whether you've been here in lurker mode before or whether you're new. But for those that are new and anyone just joining, I am Delta Mike. Actually, I'm not. It's a character I play on the internet. And I don't mean that in too much of a hyperbolic way. It's a pseudonym, or like a pen name, you might say, I use online. Basically, it's my initials. DM, Delta Mike. I had to create a new Google account once upon a time. And on the spot, you know, when your old phone stops working, you can't get into your old account. You try setting up a new phone and they try sending a text to the old phone. You haven't got the phone anymore. So you have to come up with something new on the spot. Hey, Chippy, how you doing? So, as I said, I am Delta Mike. Down and out. A tramp, a hobo, a homeless guy, a vagrant, an indigent person. When I'm doing a normal TrampCast, I've got a whole list written down of synonyms for down and out. I had a discussion the other day with someone who says it should be down but not out. I did try that in the early days as a saying. Didn't really work as well, but cheers, Chippy. At Torrevieja, that's a city on the southeast coast of Spain, for anyone who doesn't know it, hasn't been here. If you go to Benidorm, you fly into Alicante Airport and you kind of go north. Well, if you went south instead, similar distance, you're going to hit Torrevieja, which is not a party town, it's not a holiday town in the same way as Benidorm. It is and it isn't, but it's not bars and nightclubs and all that. It's people who own holiday homes. There are holiday lets, there are a few hotels, but yeah, get Clive to pronounce it properly. He sticks with Torrevieja. I keep trying. So for anyone who doesn't know, Torre means tower, Vieja means old. It's the feminine version of old because tower is feminine. Torrevieja, old tower, which relates to an 1829 incident. Basically an earthquake flattened the entire town of Torrevieja in 1829, and it had a big tower. Not the Moors, I think it was the locals built towers to watch out for invasions by the Moors at some point in the past. And so these basically like our castles and forts along coastlines in the UK. Similar thing, but they were more towerish. Kieran, hello. Kieran Singh. That's another new name. We got new people, or at least new to me. I don't know. Let me know. Are you actually new here, or have you been in lurker mode in the past and staying quiet? But yes. So as I said, I've been here now in Torrevieja. In 3 days' time, it'll be 9 years I've been in Torrevieja. 17th of February I flew out here. So let's maybe just step back a bit. Step back a bit and do a little bit of the history. I want to, as I said, I want to encapsulate that first live stream. Okay, yeah, Sean and Mark and Anthony that came around. Yeah, well, they came around again this morning. They're on their way home now. They've just landed. Okay, mate, yeah. All right, now I place you. Okay. Anyway, going back, my first live stream, I had held on. You had to have 100, I think you had to have 100 YouTube subscribers to do a live stream, and I was on 85. and I announced that I would do my first live stream if we could hit 200, and I was trying to hurry people along to sign up and subscribe. And it took a week longer than I'd hoped, but when I did the first live stream, I kind of rabbited on a little bit, like I'm doing now. And it went on for 2.5 hours, and I covered the whole backstory, how and why I came to Spain and how I ended up homeless. I want to do a quick recap of that. If I can do that in half an hour or so, and then we can do questions and conversations. In fact, feel free to do that now during this. As I said, I'll download it afterwards and try and clip it and turn it into a watchable program after. So here we go, folks. Here's me and my background. Born in a place called Darfield, a village called Darfield, which is derived from Deerfield, but D-A-R. Got amended over the years from Doomsday Book onwards. Deerfield, it would originally be in South Yorkshire, near Barnsley. I brought up there until I was about 15, just before, and moved across, hopped the Pennines to Morecambe with my parents, and lived there, for the remainder of my my younger years. Travelled about a bit when I was late teens, early 20s. You couldn't tell I'm from the north. Yeah, I bet you could. I'm a Yorkshire lad originally, with a finishing off in Lancashire, which created a few incidents at school when I jumped the Pennines. There was a little bit of banter, shall we say, but sometimes the banter just got a little bit more, as it does in those youthful days. Moved around a little bit, had some jobs around and about, did London as a security guard in my, I think I was doing 1989. I was in London when everything went on strike. The buses, the tube, the overground trains, the ambulances, and I think the fire brigade all went on strike in 1989, all at the same time. So some days I was at work and we got word of like a flash strike, a sudden strike, and I had to kind of try and walk home from different parts of London to where I was staying. Yeah, we are probably about the same age as far as I can tell, Chippy. Yeah, I'm 50. Am I 56 at the minute? I think so. Born in hold on. Born in 68. Yeah, 50. What did I say? 50. I did say 56, didn't I? Not 60. God, I lose myself sometimes. 56 at the minute. I'll be 57 later. What happened then? I went back home eventually to Morecambe, which became home, and I didn't do much for a while, and then went to university eventually. Got a management degree. I was the last generation, in fact the last year, that got a grant. My first couple of years at uni we got grants, and after that it switched to student loans, or it was a transition phase. You got a reduced, if you were already there you were kind of grandfathered in, you got a reduced grant with student loans, but there weren't fees, there weren't tuition fees back then, not at that point. This is the early, is it about 93 by the time I went to uni? I started uni in 93. I did college in the meantime. I wasted time doing a college course I didn't need to do, it turns out. And then, I think I mentioned this once in the past, when I was in the 4th year of my degree, I was taken aside by one of the professors and told if they'd known of my age and my background and my credentials, my qualifications, I could have skipped the first 2 years and just gone straight in on my final year. I wouldn't have even need to do the sandwich course, the year of work placement. I could have just gone straight to the final year. So basically, between the college I did and then the university, I wasted 4 or 5 years. And after I got the paper, I basically never learned anything at uni. I was just doing my time, doing essays and qualification, just to get the ticket. And it did me zero good afterwards. It did me no good at all. I was unemployed for quite a while after university. So I started building and repairing PCs. I'd always been into computers. When I was at university, so started in the October 93. So 1994, the World Wide Web went kind of public, if anybody remembers those days. And I was in a computer lab at university, and I had a habit of opening every program on a computer, opening it up and hitting F1, going into the help files, reading what the program was, what it did, what it was about. And one day I opened this Netscape program, communicator or navigator, can't remember which, had the ship's wheel as its icon and a starry background or something. I opened everything up and read, opened up Netscape, and there I'm presented with like the Washington Post and the Sydney Morning Herald, and to my amazement, I'm looking at that day's news, that morning's newspaper, from around the world. Absolute fucking revelation. There I am, a college, I'll say college kid. To me now, I look back and think I was a kid. Then I was a mature student. I was 3 or 4 years older than everybody else, that was there. But that qualified me as a mature student in the eyes of the authorities. And in the eyes of the recruiters afterwards, it was a bit of a negative. But there I was on the internet, accessing the news from around the world. That day's news from, like if you wanted to get a copy of, even the the university library would get international newspapers, but there'd be like a 4 or 5 day delay before you got a copy of the Washington Post or the New York Times. And there I was just reading them. Absolutely blew my mind. 94. What a year. And shortly afterwards I'm downloading Wolfenstein 3D and Doom, the shareware edition of Doom, putting them onto floppies, because that's what you did back then, loading them onto floppies and putting them on your computer, and adjusting your sound blaster settings, because you had sound, a separate sound card, but you had to configure each game before you ran it, setting the channels and the interrupts and all sorts of stuff that I don't even remember now. But anyway, after uni, all of this knowledge had kind of cemented itself in. I'd always been keen on this stuff, and I started helping other people with computers, telling other people about the internet. And as people were hearing about the internet and wanting to know more, they were wanting someone to build them a computer or advise them what computer to buy. And it would vary. Some people, depending on their budget, I'd advise them whether to go to Dixon's or Curry's or Gateway, different brands of computers, or whether to have one custom built that was just to their needs and just to their requirements, especially when CD-ROMs started and you could get the different speeds, when a double speed and a quad speed and an 8 speed, and some people wanted this, just they wanted to go down the pub and just tell all the friends about how their CD player was 8 speed or 16 speed. So I was building PCs, and somehow one of the guys I built computers for put me in touch with another guy, and he was involved with a local rugby club. And then he knew a guy that was involved with a local hospice. And these places wanted help with their websites. Let's have a look here. What's Chipmunk saying? Southampton Uni in the 90s, they got the internet. Yeah, electrical maintenance, you had nothing to do with it. But yeah, it's a wonderful time. It absolutely was. It was an explosion in technology. Each different magazines. Some were weekly, some were monthly. Going and buying a computer magazine, and 2/3 of the magazine would be sales pages listing different motherboards and processors and RAM, and you'd play wish lists in your head, building your ideal PC, and like a month later, it's all changed. The chips are twice as fast. The motherboard supports twice as much RAM. The entire period was just electric, and then so computers were shooting up. The internet or the web. I mean, the internet technically had been there since the 60s, but the web was bursting out into everyone's imagination and consciousness. TV programs telling people what the web was and how to use it. Yeah, like Chipmunk saying there, you would study these magazines, you would study the sales pages for the different sales places, the different, like I said, you'd have 60 pages from one supplier listing all of their wares. And they might put a little thing saying price is subject to change, but it gave you a guideline. You knew whether the motherboard was 50 quid or 100 quid or 150 quid. And you'd build in your head, you'd build to your price point, but you wouldn't buy because you knew that a month later you could get something that was 50% better for 90% of the price that is this month. And you would put off buying shit just because it's going to be better. It's going to be better. But anyway, people started asking me, see, here we go with the. Do you remember the was it the 486SX and the DX were basically the same chip with the math coprocessor switched off? It was there on the chip, but depending on whether the chip worked or not, if it came off the fab and worked, then it was sold as a DX. If it was faulty, they'd flick a bit in the firmware, turn it off, and you were buying an SX, which was the same chip with the broken bit disabled. Yeah, no, they've always been dodgy. These computer manufacturers, Intel in particular, always been dodgy as fuck. They sell you the same piece of hardware, but turn bits off in firmware. Commodore 64, yeah, I remember the Commodore 64. What did we have? We had the Amstrad CPC 6128. We were a bit slow. We had this TV game called the Philips G7000. Maybe Chippy can look that one up. It had a different name in America and places. But the Philips G7000 was... So, because we had that, the parents were slower to let us have a proper computer, because we'd only had this thing a few years, I think. And but yeah, the neighbours had the 464, CPC 464, which was the one with the tape drive built in. The 6128 had a floppy drive, but it was non-standard. It was a different... I don't remember. Were floppy drives 3.5 or 3.25? No, on PCs. Whatever was the standard on a PC, the Amstrad had the other one. So those were your two choices: 3.25 and 3.5 or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, going back to my story, the story of me and not just my kind of childhood or formative years. People started asking me about websites, local rugby club, people connected with rugby clubs and hospices. And I'd been doing websites since I was at uni. It started with me, okay. Google put me out of business. I was one of the first people put out of business by Google once upon a time. When I was at uni, I set up a bit of a sideline in researching on the internet, searching the internet. Because back then, 94, 5, 6 onward, there weren't any really good search engines. You had to learn Boolean. If you wanted to search for National Health Service, you had to type national and health and service, with the words and literally in the search query. If you didn't, you got National Hockey League and National Football League and National whatever America has, it was very US centric, and the words were treated as or if you didn't specify and. So I was helping people doing their dissertations and research papers and things, helping them find things for a small consideration while I was at uni. And that kind of carried on as a little bit of a sideline. But then, was it 99 or thereabouts? Might have been a little before. Google burst onto the scene and started taking over. I think 99 might have been Amazon, 97 or 98 might have been Google. Google isn't what it once was. Google results now are terrible compared to what they were. And I don't even think you can find the advanced search page anymore, can you? It used to be a little link to the right of the search box. You could go advanced and specify date ranges and all sorts of bits. Dogpile, I remember Dogpile, and what was the one that had a galleon as its symbol? But I remember when Ask Jeeves and Mama and all of those other ones came out, the kind of the aggregator ones, the ones that would search multiple search engines and try and refilter and resort the results for you. Ask Jeeves. Probably still going, I've got no idea. But anyway, folks, going back, I'm having difficulty staying on topic. Chip is dragging me off on tangents, on side quests. But I'd been building websites for a while to promote my own little business, and then some of the guys that had been helping build computers that had connections with these other organizations asked me about how to build and maintain a website for these organizations. And I'd just become familiar with a relatively new concept at the time called a content management system, which is basically a fancy program that allows you to, once you put all the code in place, once you've uploaded all of the files and set up a database, it allows you to manage your website through your website. So you'd have a login link and edit links, and you could add new pages, create new pages, edit pages on the website just by typing on the website. Prior to this, you'd have to use a program like Dreamweaver, where you click buttons on your computer, create the new page, and then you'd push to kind of edit to publish, and it would kind of upload a whole new copy of your website to the site. But only one person could have that installed on their computer. If you were a team trying to cooperate, you were kind of stuck. You'd have to contact the guy who'd got Dreamweaver and ask him to upload the pages in these early days. Ask Jeeves is still live. Probably just a front end for Google. Yeah, I would imagine. I don't know about Dogpile and these, and the one that had the galleon with all the masts and sails as its picture. I don't even remember what that was called. But I've got happy memories of using it. Anyway, where was I? So everybody had to have, you had to have, one person would have Dreamweaver, and you'd send your copy to this one person, and he'd create the new page and upload the whole new website. And it would be static. It had no email subscription forms, for mailing lists. It had no quizzes or votes. No. Your website produced by Dreamweaver in those days, or here's one, Hot Metal Pro. Anybody remember this one? They chose the name Hot Metal because of the HTML, and Hot Metal was an old slang term for the lead on the printing presses. So it was kind of a pun. It was HTML, but it was also hot metal because you're publishing, you're creating. This was a whole new world of publishing. So yeah, Hot Metal Pro, and Dreamweaver were the two main contenders. But this idea of installing the software on your site and managing your site through your site, and the leading contenders back in the day was a little outfit called WordPress and one called Mambo. And Mambo kept winning all of the open source awards. It was beating Firefox or whatever the equivalent was back in the day, to all of the open source awards. People were raving about Mambo. It eventually got kind of branched. It got forked, and the forked Joomla became the biggie. And I was a little bit of an expert in this back in the day. So I was maintaining websites and creating websites for these local organizations, using content management systems, which were, it was an absolute revelation. I'll tell you this, I'll give you this one. Okay, the hospice that I was working with were approached by a salesman trying to sell them a commercial content management system for their website, and he said to them, this was his pitch: you can't afford our content management system, but if you can go out and get another 9 hospices to come in with you, the 10 of you will sell you like a joint license, a joint copy of the content management system for only £100,000. So 10 grand each organization. This was his sales pitch. And then there would be a per seat license fee for however many users they want registered to be able to update the site. There'd be annual fees and training and consultancy to set it all up, and you could see the gravy train. You could see the money that they were after. And I was doing all this for, a couple of grand a year all in, including setting up the original site. No, there was some real hucksters out there trying to really milk these organizations. That's your sales pitch. Imagine it. You cannot afford our product, but if you go and recruit 9 others, then you can have it for 10 grand each, plus license fees, plus training, plus consultancy, And then there would have been add-ons if you wanted different bits, new modules or new functionality, adding customization, whatever. So eventually I said to the world, I posted online, I'm going to do this permanently, this website thing. I'm going to stop building and repairing PCs and teaching people how to use them. I actually didn't. I actually kept a lot of my original customers for years afterwards, going around and removing viruses and optimizing, speeding up their computer, doing that. But I wasn't taking on new customers for all of that. But I announced to the world, this website thing, this is the future, this is what I'm going to do. And then the very next day I got 2 phone calls. One from a Japanese multinational electronics giant, whose name will remain secret. 3 letters. Used to sponsor, was it Portsmouth or Plymouth? I'm saying no more. Make printers. Commercial. You don't really get them for your own house, but business printers they made. I've said too much. But they'd blown the European arm of the company had blown their budget trying to join in with a European, with all the European outfits for a corporate intranet, and they wanted help just to have just to have a UK intranet, and they had no budget left. But no budget for a multinational electronics company is a lot more than most people's no budget. The other call I got that day was from an American company that specialised in making templates for Joomla, the content management system that I was quite good with. And they contacted me and said, tell us your hourly rate. Okay, we'll take 50% of your time. And so that was me set. That was me set, guys. That day one, basically. I announced it the day before, but my first day of being like a business, and I'd landed a multinational electronics giant, and sold half of my kind of consulting time to an American company. And away I went. Over time, I grew, I expanded, I hired people, we moved into city centre offices, became a limited company rather than a sole trader. And city centre offices in a nice flashy building next to the town hall in the city that I was living in. And that was me for the next 8, 9, 10, I don't know, however many years that was. Not quite 10, probably 8. But eventually life happens and things move on, and me and the wife split, and about the same time, I'd been trying to branch into a new thing. Over time, just building websites and managing them for people became a little bit... It's not that it was boring, it's that people were too demanding. Too many of our customers didn't know their arse from their elbow. Running the website was just one extra duty that they had. It wasn't their job. They didn't know anything about it. So they'd come along, tell you what they wanted. Then it's your job to make it happen. And when you tell them how long you think that's going to take and how much that's going to cost, they tell you, oh no, I was looking to spend 1/10 of that. And you try and find a middle ground, pair off some of the functionality, reduce it, take longer to do it so you're not having to cram it and turn all the work away. Try and find ways of fitting in and adjusting to them. But over time it became tiresome. And we were getting really, really skilled at de-hacking websites. When our clients never got hacked. This is very rarely. But other people started coming to us because we made a security product. We made an add-on in for Joomla that secured the website and rejected like 99% of hacks. Basically, the first time you tried to hack a page, you were banned from the site, whereas the built-in tools would let you just hammer away like 1,000,000 times trying to log in with fake accounts, guessing passwords. We said no. By the time you've checked this many times in this shorter period, you're out, you're gone, you're blocked. And your entire company's blocked, your entire IP address or a range of IP addresses are blocked. So people started coming to us, we got a reputation, and people with hacked websites came to us. And there was a certain kind of attack that was really prevalent at the time called the pharma hack. This is pharma as in pharmaceuticals, PHARMA. People would hack a website, and it would sit silently hacked. You wouldn't know it was hacked. But when Google requested a page, it got a different page to what you saw. And it would have Viagra or Cialis or all Xanax or it would have all these pharmaceuticals embedded in the page. And we built a system to scan the internet looking for these hacked websites. And we built a system that could find... Literally, if you gave it a week, it would find 1,000,000 hacked websites. And so we decided that that's what we were kind of going to specialize in. We kept the customers we had, but we were going to try and contact these hacked websites, these hacked companies, and tell them, hey, you're hacked. We can clean that for you, and it will only be this many pounds or dollars or euros, whatever. But it's incredibly difficult to contact someone and tell them that their website's got an invisible hack that they can't see. And the classic one that always sticks in my mind was, we had a few of these, but some girls' high schools, Catholic girls' high schools in particular, you try ringing a Catholic girls' high school, trying to talk to the headmaster or bursar or, the school secretary or whoever. You try and tell them that you're on the internet and you've seen that their Catholic girls' school is ranking high for Viagra. And their first question is, what kind of pervert are you? What are you doing searching for Catholic school girls and Viagra? And you have to try and explain that, no, we built this system. There's this type of hack. You can't, they go to their webpage and they say, no, I'm looking at it. There's no Viagra there. And you say, no. You have to be Google. If your user agent in the browser is is set to be Google, then you see it. And we'd take our system would automate the process of taking screenshots and showing it all to them. But you just couldn't persuade a high enough percentage to make it viable. And yeah, it's like I said, this was about the time that me and the wife split, and other things happened, and a little bit of disaffection set in within the company. People were wanting to leave. My brother, who worked for the company, announced he was leaving. Hacked or not, you know the name of the, Okay. No, it's not, I don't, defunct. What happened, the systems were all still running, but when my problems, see, we got to get to this, but when my bank pulled the plug on all my bank accounts and all my payments, when I couldn't get access to my money, none of the bills were paid. So all of the domains lapsed. My original domains from 1999 onwards, and I owned about 40 different domains in the end. You know, when you have an idea and you register about 4 different variations of it. buyforhim.co.uk, buyforhim.com, buyforher.co.uk, buyforher.com, and on and on and on. At 40 would be a that's probably on the low side in the end, I guess. You always ended up with 4 variations of any idea you had, at least 4 variations of any idea you had. But hacked or not that was the big idea that was going to make me millions. If we could convert 0.1% of those million hacked websites to be customers. It proved too difficult back in those days. Nowadays, you would just list the database of who was hacked, and you would list them, and it would be public, and the people would come running to you saying, no, remove our site from your database. And you'd try and figure out some funding there, either you doing the de-hacking, or they prove it's now de-hacked and you charge them a small consideration to remove them from the database. I guess that's what you would do. I was never that cynical, and but anyway, yeah, that was my make a million idea, and it failed and cost me quite a lot of my personal wealth. Towards the end, I was putting money into the company to pay for the wages for 4 or 5 of the lads that were there, and again, it's part of the stresses of it all. It's part of why things went wrong. Part of why we all became disaffected with it all. So, after I split from the wife, I spent a year or 2 in the UK, not really doing anything, probably drinking too much. And the wife's family had a place out here in Torrevieja, or in this area, from the late 90s onwards. And I'd loved the place. So I had money in the bank, reduced amount of money in the bank, but money in the bank from when we split and divvied up the assets. She got the house, I got the cash that was in the bank. I came out to Torrevieja, and this is where my troubles really began. Not really, but so February the 17th, 2016. Now, if anybody remembers 2016, I'll give you a hint. That's the year that everybody was dying. Every day when you put your computer on and put the news on, some star or other, some famous celeb had just died. And it went on all year, right until George Michael, was it Boxing Day or Christmas Day? George Michael died. I think that was 2016 still. Anyone who was famous died in 2016. But also, see, I came out here, like I said, February the 17th I flew out. And the Brexit vote was going to be June the 19th, 21st, whenever that was. About 4 months after I came out. Harambe, that was at the Gorilla. So here's the thing. When you move to Spain and you want to be kind of here permanently, you're supposed to register for tax. So you get what's called an NIE number, and you do residencia, and you're supposed to do it all within 3 months. Chippy's doing cheers. Cheers, Chippy. Coffee for once. Although, some guys brought me a bottle of whiskey. I think I mentioned this. Was it yesterday, day before? Some guys brought me some whiskey a few days ago. Yeah, you said you don't. Oh no, it's Jack Attack doesn't do whiskey. That was right, because he's a jock and doesn't do whiskey. No. Hold on, what happened here? Yeah, there's Jack Attack. Firewater. Yeah, no, it's the water of life. I thought was the proper translation in Gaelic. Although you got to be careful with how you say Gaelic, haven't you? That's, I don't know. Anyway, cheers, folks. Oh, for some reason, I got the most incredible heartburn today. I think it could be this stuff that some guys brought me around today. They were on the way to the airport. I think it's reversed, isn't it? But the camera's reversed in YouTube. I don't know if there's a setting for that somewhere. But I got some Corona beer that I've been drinking. It's not my usual thing, but I had 3 or 4 bottles, and it was a lovely sunny afternoon. So I helped myself. Hey, Karen's in the house. Karen, I just watched back TrampCast 001 this afternoon. I actually fell asleep for about half an hour in the middle of it. I never realised that you were the 3rd person to ever type in chat. I knew that you'd come in later and said, hey, I'm a hairdresser, I can do your hair, but that was on the 2-hour mark. I never realised, folks, that Karen was literally the 3rd person ever to chat on a live stream on my channel. So cheers, Karen. Thank you very, very much. And thank you for everything this week. I won't go into details. But I will. Karen family washed my clothes for me because I had a big pile sat here. I had a bag of washing waiting to be done, and I've been short on water for quite a while. And then it rained on New Year's Eve, the torrential rain for 36 hours, New Year's Eve and into New Year's Day. And this tent being a leaking sieve, everything, the bag of washing that was waiting to be done got wet. And I didn't really, what was the point in putting it out to dry when it was mucky already? So it's kind of sat here stinking for a while and festering. But my mate Karen there and family took it away and washed it and brought it back today. So thank you, Karen. It was Karen's first ever live stream that she said, okay, wow. And you managed to find chat, because it's not always easy. Some of the different versions of the video player and the screens, you can't find chat that easily. Chat replay is almost impossible to find on mobile. You have to fucking know what you're doing already beforehand. On mobile, on Android, you have to put the screen horizontal and click the tap the screen, tap the player, and hit the double speech bubble icon. But Karen done so much for me, guys. Karen, ever since that first live stream, which is, I don't know, that must be, how long ago? Is that 18 months or so, the first live stream? Oh, it must be headed that way, maybe not quite. But yeah, it's not, chat's not obvious at all, and chat replay in particular is almost invisible if you don't know what to do. Side swipe, I don't even know whether that works on this, not on my phone, I don't think. I have to turn the phone sideways and tap the player. If it's horizontal, if it's in portrait mode on my phone, there's no icon or anything to indicate chat replay at all. It's a fucking mystery. So you have to be alive and you have to be aware of it beforehand. In terms of user interface design, it's a shocking mess. Like everything YouTube. I don't even understand why right now chat is staying visible. While you guys are typing messages, chat's staying here. Ordinarily, I have to wave my finger in front of the fucking camera and touch that side of the screen and get in the way and keep bringing the chat up every few minutes. It's a right old mess. Anyway, where did I get to with the story of my life, guys? I'd moved out to Torrevieja. I'd moved out to Torrevieja. I'd come out 4 months before Brexit, and you had 3 months to do the NIE, which is the tax registration, and the residencia, if you're going to stay in the country kind of permanently or semi-permanently. I kind of wanted to kind of hang on and see how the whole Brexit thing worked out. So I didn't do anything. I didn't do any of that. Plus, I'd seen how difficult it was with some of my friends. If you walk into the Policia National station, the National Police Station, and ask, what do I need for my NIE? They will write down a list of 5 items. But if you ask a different member of staff, they'll all write down a different 5 items. And whatever you do when you go back a day later with those items, they'll tell you that the 5 you've brought are the 5 that you were told, but that the list's wrong and that you don't need this one, but you need this 6th thing that you haven't brought. And so go away and come back another day. And everyone I've seen go there goes through the same dance. They don't just provide you like a checklist, a form, you know, with 5 items and tick boxes for you to say, yeah, those are the ones. You go in, you ask, they write it down, and they all write down a different bunch of shit and tell you that you got it wrong when you go back next time. So anyway, I hesitated for this month because the month after my 3 months was going to be the Brexit vote, and who knew what was going to happen? Also, Spain was in the middle of political turmoil of their own. They ended up with 3 general elections in the same year. And also the Trump thing, that the 2016 American election was bubbling away in the background and all that entailed. So there was this general sense of political uncertainty and everything like that. But I waited, I hesitated, I wanted to see what happened. But like anything official and Spanish officialdom, Spain love their bureaucracy, but they're really, really bad at it. Germany and some of the Scandinavian countries, Norway and Sweden, they love their bureaucracy, but they're really, really good at it, really efficient and smooth. Spain seem to see bureaucracy as a way of preserving jobs. And if we can mess people about, if we can send them away and tell them they've got the wrong paperwork and make them come back another day and another day and another day and reject a perfectly valid application and make you apply again, keeps them in jobs, keeps extra work. You need more staff to handle all these all these bureaucratic processes. That seems to be their attitude. So anyway, because I'd hesitated, you can imagine walking into the national police afterwards and saying, "Hey guys, I was supposed to come here last month and do the paperwork, but hey, I left it an extra month, but I'm here now. Slap me on the wrist and tell me I'm a naughty boy, but give me the paperwork anyway." That was never going to work. So I hesitated and hesitated and hesitated. Plus, we were waiting to see how the whole Brexit... You would have thought that after announcing that they were going to have the Brexit referendum, you would have thought there'd have been plans and preparations and negotiations ongoing in advance in case. And so that when the decision was made, they would implement what was already negotiated and decided. But no. So even after the vote, so you knew what the vote was, but you didn't know what was going to happen. So I'm in a foreign country waiting to see how is it going to play out? What's it going to mean? What happens next? And that was 2.5 more years before they fucking decided. And then they gave us about a month notice of what the rules were actually going to be. Yeah, I'm not getting into the politics of it, Chippy, but I think I think David Cameron screwed up big time. David Cameron should have stood separate from the whole process. He should have had. He should have appointed. There should have been a leave and a remain side, and he should have stayed separate and implemented whatever they decided. Instead, he took sides, and then when they lost, his position was untenable, and he stood down and threw us into what, 5 years of turmoil? Would you say 5 years? Because Boris and everything that came from it all came from all that. Boris and Theresa May and whatever that other woman was called that lasted about a day and a half. I'm getting into politics. I'm not going there, folks. I'm not going there. Says Chipmunk. Okay, where was I with my life story? Yeah, so I hesitated on paperwork and process, and then I couldn't really get back into it. Now, I was renting. I was moving about different houses over, a year and a half in this house and a year in that house, and I picked up a dog along the way. You've all met Tina. Let's just do that again because there might be people here that haven't met Tina yet. Let me 2 clicks to get to the. Can we? There's my Tina. Hello, babe. Hey, you always look away when I put a camera on you. I got people thinking that you're sad. Here we go. How about treats? Oh, I haven't got any. But it got a reaction. I do. I've got some somewhere, sweetheart. I will dig you some out before we're finished. That's my Tina girl. I picked up a Tina somewhere along the way, guys. In the December at the end of that first year. We rented a few places and then I moved in with a bloke and not like that. But I had money and my lease was ending where I was. He had an apartment with a spare room and no money. So I moved in with him. And all was well for a few years. And Karen recognises the light. Karen got me. That's the second one you got me because the police stole the first one, wasn't it? But yeah. Anyway, I moved in with this guy, Christian. And all was well for 2 or 3 years. Then a little thing called COVID happened. And this is where things really screwed me, folks. This is why I ended up a tramp. We're getting to the meat and potatoes of the story now. COVID happened and it coincided with my 2 bank accounts with the cards expiring. And I couldn't get hold of UK banks. I needed new debit cards for 2 different banks. So let me just explain this because this is crucial. Before coming to Spain, I knew I didn't want all my eggs in one basket. I didn't want just one bank account because that meant lose your bank card, you're screwed. So I moved a chunk of money into a separate bank account as an emergency fund, rainy day fund. Okay? This is important. Second bank account, rainy day fund. At the original, my main bank was Barclays. My rainy day fund was Santander. The irony. Spanish. Except not really. The irony will become apparent. So my rainy day fund. So anyway, couldn't get hold of anyone at Barclays, couldn't get new bank cards, couldn't get going, couldn't get anything. I was bollocksed. I'm in a foreign country during a pandemic, unable to get hold of my money. My wife still, so we're not technically divorced, but so she goes into the bank, marriage certificate in hand, let the guy give us a bank card, and they're like, your name's not on the account, you don't count. She went, marriage certificate, same surname, used to live at the same address. No, you're not. Data Protection Act, we can't tell you anything, we can't do. She says, he's on the phone now, you can talk to him, you can FaceTime, you can He can show you his passport. He can walk into a fucking police station or a lawyer's or a notary. He can prove who he... No. And it was the same with the other bank, Santander. Now, Santander got worse. So I was overdrawn with Barclays, which is why I needed my emergency fund. Santander closed my account, declared it dormant because it had not been touched in 4 years or whatever it was, and said, no, you have to present yourself in your local branch, your local Santander. Like, not local here in Spain, my actual branch in fucking Lancaster or Morecambe. Morecambe. They'd actually closed the branch. So now my nearest branch, I think, is Lancaster. But I have to present myself in that specific branch with my passport, or they won't let me have my money. Now, the irony here, guys, of it's my rainy day fund. I told them that when I opened the account. I explicitly and specifically said, got a bank account elsewhere, but rainy day fund. I got money in that bank, but I can't, they won't let me have it. The fact that they have legally separated husband and wife now, you can't act as one unit anymore because of fraud because of growing levels of fraud since the 70s, mainly from non-indigenous populations is the main. I'm not going there because it sounds racist to say, although it is true. They were the cause of it all. It used to be that you would just go to your local bank and you would know the staff, and they would, you'd grown up with them. You'd been in that bank with your parents, and they knew you. It was done on trust. You didn't have to prove who you were and bring utility bills and stand there with your passport. But here I was, trapped by COVID in a foreign country, unable to access my rainy day fund because my bank has basically stolen the money and said it's theirs until I can present myself in that bank. Can't get back to the UK without my money. Also, there's a tiny little niggling legal thing been hanging over my head now for the same 3 or 4 fucking years. Entirely stupid. I don't even know what to say about it. Argument in a bar. I'm in a bar. Well, I'm in a beer garden outside a bar. And I've got my dog. And the place is empty. The beer garden's empty. There's one other table got people in. And a couple walk in and sit on the next table to me. There's going to be a music act start soon. So the place fills up. And this couple next to me wait until every table is taken. And then they say, you'll have to move. We don't like dogs. They've just walked in to an empty terrace, an empty beer garden. Waited for it to fill up. Sat right next to me and, on the next table to me and the dog. Waited for the place to fill and then tell me I have to move. Well, I said, get fucked, what the fuck are you talking about? Or words to that effect. They complained to the manager, stuff happened, he threw me out, and my dog was still inside after I got thrown out. My dog was still tied to fucking railings inside. So I couldn't go home. So I'm waiting for the police to come and arrive. And I'm thinking, oh good, I can tell them my dog's inside. And no, the cop walks up to me and just waves handcuffs in my face. And when I say, whoa, no, that's not necessary, he gets the baton out and extends it and gives two shakes to indicate he's about to hit me. I say, come on, you're joking. It's a joke. Es un broma. Es una broma. Whack, whack, 2 to the arm, whack, whack, 2 to the leg, and then his mate rugby tackles me from behind. No, it's not a business account. Chippy, it was my personal account by this time. They just want me to appear with my passport. I was told really early on dealing with Santander UK over the phone that they're entirely separate. There are certain, they cooperate to a certain extent on some issues. When, like, if you're abroad and lose your card, you can go to Santander in Spain. But when it's anything more complicated or more, Santander UK is technically a separate company because it's been sold on or bought out or something. So I'm stuck in this. I'm stuck in this situation where I've got thousands of pounds in the bank, but I've been living in a fucking field for 2.5 years. As I said, this is the meat and potatoes of the story, really. So what happened was I was living in an apartment. Obviously, I got behind with the rent because I couldn't get access to my money. I escalate the situation with Santander and the woman I'm speaking with, a lady called Emma, tells me she's escalating it. It's gone to the highest levels of bosses she can, and they'll get back to me. She calls me back 6 hours later and says, no, sorry, the bosses say it's too big a risk. We can't prove that you're you. There's no way to do it. And I'm saying, you're kidding. My mate loses his bank. He loses his bank card. And phone and everything, gets a new phone, rings his bank, and like 3 days later he's got a new card. All he had to do was FaceTime and show his passport. I said, I will walk into a fucking police station, much as I hate them, but I'll show them some ID. I'll stand there and they can thumbprint me and prove that I'm me because I've got a court case. I'm on their database. They know who the fuck I am. I said, I can go to the police, I can go to the court, I can go to a lawyer, I can go to notary public. They can guarantee that I am me. No, too high a risk for the bank. So I get kicked out of my apartment, and I stay. I'm walking to the friend I used to live with, the guy with the apartment, but I'm like fainting. I've not eaten for days. The electric had been turned off for 3 weeks in the apartment, illegally. I've not eaten for days. The guy's bust in, him and a couple of bruises, and I've tried to carry as much as I could of my belongings because I don't think I'm thinking I might never get access to them, and I'm carrying too much and over too long a distance. So I stop off at another friend's on the way, and I call the friend that I want to stay with, and he says, "Fuck off, no." Because he's a narcissist. I missed that part out of the story, but he is a diagnosed, actual, real-life narcissist. So he hung me out to dry. This is the same guy that turns up here in the field every now and again wanting me to help him. If you can believe that. He's in an apartment, was getting €800 a month benefits, and he comes here to me when he's on a downer, when his meds aren't balanced and things aren't right. He comes here to me for help. I'm supposed to be trying to keep this concise, folks. This is supposed to be the concise version. Anyway, long story short, the lady, the friend I've stopped off at, because I was about to faint on the way, I stay with her for about a week, and then I move in with a friend, a Finnish friend, who's coming over at the end of that week, and he's going to be in Torrevieja for a month. And I move in with him, and the deal is I'll pay my half of the rent once I get access. Yeah, mate. Yeah, my money is still there. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for chat. I just have to try and I'll have to download this and edit it out afterwards. But sorry, I wasn't meaning to ignore. I was just trying to get on and get through. But banking rules are awful. Yeah, no, they're anti-money laundering and anti-fraud prevention is just, it's over the top. It's got in the way of real people. Having to travel 20 miles to prove that you're you. Yeah, no, that's ridiculous, isn't it? They want me to move about 1,000, I don't know, however many miles it is from, somebody look it up. Torrevieja to Lancaster or Morecambe. I think it's about 800 miles. I covered that about them not being the same organisation, the same entity. They won't. Yeah, I'm a tramp with thousands. It's not a lot of thousands, but there's enough money in my bank that if I got home and got hold of it, I could probably get myself 3 months rent paid with a deposit and have enough money to set up a small business and get myself going. But probably, maybe not quite that much, but it'd be getting on for that amount. I would get by if I got access to my money. But yeah, my money's still there. I'm the richest. Have you considered a GoFundMe? I've got no idea how you get the money out of a GoFundMe after you've done it. That was a whole other thing about once I started with YouTube, we got to bridge this gap. Let me do this. Let me do this part of the story. So what I stayed with this lady for a week, and then I moved in with my Finnish friend for a month, and then he went back to Finland. He had to go back early, so I called the friend and I moved in with her again, and she put me up for 2 or 3 months. But I broke the friendship. I outstayed my welcome. I did it wrong. I had no money and therefore felt I couldn't go out, and then I was under her feet all day, every day. And it was a big burden to put upon somebody. And yeah, I broke that friendship. So one day, finally, August the 14th, she'd given me this deadline, and she said, look, enough's enough. You got to go. So on 11 o'clock in the morning, Sunday, August the 14th, 2022 is this still, I think, I walked down the steps from her house into the streets of Torrevieja. Me, the dog, one hold-all, one heavy bag, and one fairly light shopping bag with stuff for the dog. Me and the dog, and off we went. Go, be gone, go be homeless now on the streets. Go. What do you do? What would you do? If someone gave you, if you had no, so you haven't got any money to prepare, you've got your possessions, and someone says, right, you're going to be homeless. In a week, you're going to be homeless. You can take what you can carry. Go. What do you take, and where do you go? How did the dog get out of the bar? When we were in the bar waiting for a friend to come back, the guy that I'd been living with, he'd gone off with a bunch to get his dog. So there's another story there about how we ended up in this situation. But he went off with some other people to get his dog, and he was supposed to come straight back, and instead he stayed there and had a few drinks for a few hours, leaving me sat alone in this bar. And then this argument happened with this Norwegian couple. I don't know why, but I struggle more with the Norwegians than with any other group out here. It must be the darkness or something that they have at home. There's a few of them just... the Swedes are lovely. Most Norwegians are. But if I'm going to have an argument with somebody, it will be a fucking Norwegian. Or the Icelandic. They're possibly even worse. Because there's fewer of them and they're all crazy. Yeah, the Icelandic. But the Norwegians would be second. I know I do have a few. I do have a few Norwegian friends, and some of the people who come here and donate food and donate money on PayPal and stuff. We've got some Norskies amongst them, but they do have more than the fair share of drop the balls or somersault cases. But yeah, select how do you select what to take if you think you're going to become homeless? It's a thing, and you realize you've left some stuff, and of course now I've built up, and I've got like the EcoFlow and the solar panel. Some of the things I've left behind. I had a Intel NUC, next unit of computing, I think, was the Ponzi. Basically one of those 5-inch square computers, about an inch and a half high, 5 inches by 5 inch square. because I've got the solar panel and a TV and what have you now, I could do with my Intel Nook. But yeah, you leave things behind. I did actually get access to the apartment and get my things, but they're with this lady who threw me out in the end, and I haven't been back in touch with her since. She's probably thrown them out by now, I would imagine. But yeah, that's how I ended up homeless. I spent 2 months in the park initially because it was just around the corner from the house where I was thrown out of. But then somebody complained to the Ayuntamiento, the town hall. So someone complained to the local authority, and they came and chopped down all the trees that my things were stored under. I had to go. It took me 2 hours to dig out my belongings from under this tree, and then I'd become aware of this field, vaguely aware that it was here. And so I carried what I could down here over 5 trips. 3.5 of those trips would have just been like carrying bottles of water, 16 litres of water in each hand, walking the half a kilometre or whatever it is to get here. That and a dog pulling up the way and messing me about. Then I just put all my stuff down here and I went for a walk and the heavens opened. Fucking torrential rain. While I was out, I found a clear plastic bag that looked like about the size that would fit over a fridge freezer. And I brought that back and I rolled my bed out. It already started raining, but I rolled my bedroll out. No tent, no cover, not even a tarp at this point. But I unrolled my bedroll and I put this big plastic sheet over me and the dog and the bed, squeezed into this. It was only about 4.5 foot long, and we watched the lightning for a couple of hours. We watched the lightning and the rain, and it was glorious. We're in basically a transparent tent watching the rain, and it was kind of glorious. Dog hated it, obviously. Tina doesn't like thunder and lightning. The flash is enough, but the bang, the crack of thunder. But it got worse. I looked to this path at the side here, and the puddles were kind of aggregating. I could see the puddles joining together, and then this ripple came down, gliding over the top of these aggregated puddles, and then a wave. I can only, more like a bore, like 5 inches, maybe 6 inches, ankle deep kind of thing. This wave came down and just filled the whole field, ankle deep in one go. And with that, everything electronic, I had a Kindle book reader, had a Kindle Fire tablet, my phone, power banks, pen drives, thumb drives, whatever you want to call them, everything, either totally ruined or some of them were reduced functionality for a while. My phone carried on working for a few weeks, but the screen was so dim I could only do anything at night. Had a portable solar panel, foldable fabric solar panel thing that I could charge the phone with, keep it going, but I'd have to set up like a playlist at night, and then through the day, before it got light, set it playing, and that was it for the day. I had no other control over the phone. Just put it in my pocket and just listen to whatever's set to play, whether it's music, podcasts, whatever. And then wait for darkness so that I could see the dimmed screen and make out. But over time it went and became useless, became broken. And then began the 5 months of hell, as I refer to it. If you've watched Voyager, they have the Year of Hell, which is, I can't remember which, they were invaded by somebody, weren't they? Was it there was the thing with the holodeck and I can't remember the species, but I had my 5 months of hell. This was where I didn't have anything, guys. I didn't know what time of day it was. At night I had no lights, and this was winter. So as soon as it gets dark at 5:30, 6 o'clock, that's it until 8 o'clock the next morning. And if you fall asleep and you wake up, You don't know if you've been asleep for like an hour and a half or 8 hours. You don't know if it's morning or if it's half an hour after you just fell asleep. Some nights you would have 3 full nights sleep as far as you could tell. And you'd still lay there for hours and hours just looking up at the stars. Hours and hours would pass by and you got nothing. With no light, even if you've got like a newspaper, I used to go around the bins and collect like the English language newspapers for the puzzles and things, but I could only do them through the day. As soon as it got dark, there was nothing I could do except go off and tour around the bins, try and find food. It's not as bad as it sounds. You're not pulling food out of the bin most of the time. Occasionally, but most of the time not. People who are leaving the country will hang a bag of food on the side of the bins. Although sometimes you'll open a bin up and have a look in, and you might see a pizza carton on the top above everything else. And sometimes you open it up and there's half a fucking pizza in there. Sometimes you open it up and there's a full pizza. I opened one up once and there was 2 separate half pizzas. So 2 people have had a pizza and they've only eaten half of their own pizza and they've put it inside the top of the bin, but on top of everything else. I'll take that. Me and the dog. Sometimes you feel some of the bags and it'll be ice cold, the bin bag, and someone's emptied their freezer and they're throwing away some fish and some meat and some ice cream, and the entire bag is the contents of their freezer that they're defrosting or whatever. And maybe they're leaving the country and they had stuff in the freezer and they're not going to leave the power on. Don't know what or why, don't know what the motive is, but there's a whole bin bag full of frozen food. Bring it back to the camp. Have ice cream or whatever for the next few days. Oh, I'm missing chat. Chipmunk has some Icelandic friends and neither of them are head the balls. Neither of them are assholes. Yeah, you know, apologies on behalf of Norway. Thomas, I know that it's not everyone, mate. I know it's not everyone, but that particular Norwegian couple have caused me so much trouble in there. Because of that court case hanging over me, I can't leave the country. When I did try, I got arrested at the airport and brought back. So Santander say I have to appear in the UK before I can get my money. Spain say, no, you're not leaving the fucking country. Without money and without being able to leave the country and such is life, folks. You roll with it, don't you? You roll with it. You got to put up with some fucking things. I've amazed myself that I've survived this long. I mean that honestly. I was never particularly practical. If you'd given me 6 broom handles and a tarpaulin and a ball of string and a couple of chairs, I couldn't have built a bed and a tent, or I wouldn't have known where to start. And yet that's what I did here. After the first Christmas, I gathered together a few broom handles that had been thrown away. Mop handles, broom handles, call them what you will. Stuck 6 into the ground. Found an old tarp that was bust to fuck, but that would do, and strung it over the top. I tied string between the various broom handles to try and take some of the, so that the tarp wasn't just sitting on the points of the broom handles. Some of the weight was being taken by the rope in between the poles. I had 2 farmhouse kitchen style chairs that I put at one end and turned side. I had a pile of bricks and two pieces of wood. I put a piece of wood across the chairs and a piece of wood across the 2 piles of bricks, and I lay 4 planks over those 2 beams, and then put my mattress on top of the beams, on top of the planks. So I built a bed inside a shelter, and that was me. That was great for a month or 2, and then it rained and rained one weekend. It rained like shit, and because I had no support for the roof at this point, so it's a concave roof, and the water gathered, and eventually the roof just came through and dumped all the water in and on. I had picnic blankets that had a waterproof-ish edge, so most of the water I could pass off onto the ground. But fortunately for me, that was me ruined. This roof now was channeling all the water that was hitting the entire roof. It was channeling it in and onto my bed. Fortunately, it stopped raining for a couple of hours, and an English couple walked past, saw the predicament I was in, and they went across to the pound shop type thing, Chinese. They call them Chino bazaars. They went across to the Chinese shop and bought me a brand new tarp. I think it was 6 meters by 4 meters. Saved my life. This was February? I think late February, might have been early March, that the roof had gone through. And we were still having some nights that were down around 4 degrees Celsius occasionally. But the gift of that tarp, now they accidentally left the price sticker on, but they accidentally, so I saw the cost. And now it's not a huge amount of money in the grand scheme of things, but to me, that €17.50 gift was phenomenal. And that, if you watch the beginning of this YouTube channel, if you watch my first ever video, that is the tarp that was falling apart come May. So it lasted me 2 or 3 months in the Spanish heat and wind and not being supported properly, just being perched on 6 broomsticks. I did add, so as not to have a concave roof, to give me a convex roof, I put 4 stakes in the ground, and I took these big sticks, these big branches that I found, and I tied one to each of the stakes, and I bent them over and tied them in pairs to form 2 arches, so that my tent, my shack, had a bit more of a proper shape, so water could run off. But that gift from that couple, Nigel and Kath they were called, that gift got me through the next kind of 3 or 4 months and got me out of winter. It got me to the brink of summer. It saved my life. I was actually, after that roof went through that day, I was thinking bad thoughts. I was thinking that was it. I couldn't see. I'd battled to survive however many months it had been, from August until February or March, so 6 or 7 months. I'd done my best to survive that long, but the roof coming through and all that water coming in, I was starting to contemplate bad things. And them just arriving as they did, and they brought that tarpaulin, they brought some bread buns and some hot dog sausages, and for a couple of months afterwards, every 2nd or 3rd week, they'd come across and bring me a Sunday dinner. And then somehow I think I told them the tale of how I had thousands in the bank but couldn't access it. And maybe I didn't explain it right. Maybe I've offended them. Maybe they were hearing about me having thousands in the bank and they're thinking, why the fuck are we spending money on you and bringing you food? Maybe I just didn't explain the fact that the money's there but I can't have it. I don't know, but somehow they just stopped. They just disappeared on me. They're still, I can see the house, I know where they live, but we lost touch. We lost connection. But like I said, I was never practical. You wouldn't have put money on me being able to make some kind of fucking Bear Grylls survival shelter out of 6 broom handles and a tarpaulin that a builder's already thrown away. But they were very nice to me. They were very kind people for that 3 or 4 months that we were in touch. And they literally did save my life. I am, without lingering on the, because YouTube will probably fucking ban me if I mention the S word that ends with "I'd." But I was I was having those thoughts. I was thinking, what else can I do? I've battled and battled. I've found a place that I can kind of get by. I deliberately picked a spot to make myself available for people to help me, which sounds manipulative, but I knew that I couldn't. I'm no Bear Grylls. I'm not Corporal's Corner YouTube channel, a survivally woodsman-y kind of guy. Very Irish name, Sean. It's not Murphy. Oh, somebody come up with a classic Irish surname, and it'll be that. Sean. It's not O'Reilly. It's not Murphy. Anyway, Corporal's Corner, fantastic channel. Learned a lot watching him once I got online. Or something. Yeah, I don't think there's an O. I think he's just one of those archetypal Irish names. It's not O anything. It's just it's not Riley. It's not Murphy. Kelly, Corporal Sean Kelly, former U.S. Marine Corps sergeant. No, corporal in the name, innit? Corporal's Corner. Anyway, with his help, he kind of. But I was never that. I'm not Rambo. So I deliberately picked a spot to make myself available for people to see me and to take pity on me and offer help. I'm not an idiot. I knew that I knew my limits. I knew that I couldn't survive this on my own. I'm not off trapping rabbits and squirrels and, cooking rats, or it's not me. I can't even catch a fucking fish. We tried it and failed. Yeah. But no, these people, they when they turned up with that tarpaulin, and that got me through, like I said, out of the winter period and the heavy rains that you get. The heaviest rains in Spain typically fall in the autumn and the spring period. Having a good tarp at that point got me through that. We got rabbits running around here somewhere on the cliffs. I see their pellets. I only once or twice I've seen rabbits back here, and there was once we were walking on this track in the middle of the night when Tina wanted one of her 3 o'clock in the morning dog walks, and something moved, and then I saw these little white socks on his foot kind of leaping over and into the grass that way, which is unusual. But that I think was a rabbit. I've watched the rats many a time. They can leap and fucking jump. That's a story for another day. The rats. And the mice are back at the minute. Chased one out of the bedroom a few days ago. They're inside my tent because my tent's falling apart. But yeah, the start of the YouTube channel. So let me just cover this. Me and Tina used to go and sit on the cliff tops on some chairs, and we got talking to some people. Some people used to just offer us money, which I was always a little bit insulted by. It's like, how can you tell I'm a fucking... Yeah, I tried to keep myself tidy-ish, but I guess because we sat there for 8 or 10 hours a day in summer, reading books, doing whatever, but we got talking with these ladies, and I'd said about the 5 months of hell when we didn't have any lights, didn't have any, no radio, no lights, no watch, didn't know what time it was, didn't know anything. And this lady started bringing me a coffee in the morning from her house in a disposable cup. A lady called Tina, a bit like this Tina, and a friend I've got in England called Tina. A lot of Tinas in my life. But Tina started bringing me cups of coffee and talking to me. And then she mentioned this other lady that she knew, and I knew this other lady from my before times, from before COVID and everything going wrong. And so we reconnected, and this other lady, Anita, took me out one day and bought me a radio. Who knew you could buy a fucking radio for €6? There were times I was sat here with 10 or 20 euros in my fucking pocket, and I saved that money for food. And with hindsight, I would have sacrificed a week's food for a fucking radio. Oh man, I was going off my fucking nut in those 5 months. No lights, didn't know what time it was at night. No clock for most of it, although we found one eventually in a bin and some batteries lying on the floor. But I was going off my nut not knowing what time of night it was. Imagine you wake up in the middle of the night and you don't know if it's 10 o'clock at night or 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't know if the sun's about to come up or if you've still got the whole night to go. She got me a radio. And then I found some little lights, some little solar-powered lights in a bin one day while I was looking around for things. And if I put these 3 little lights, if I put them out to charge all day and I put them on my chest like that, I could just about hold a book here and just about read a page or do a crossword or Sudoku or whatever puzzle was in the English language newspaper. Suddenly it was heaven. I had a radio. I could listen. I could know what the weather was going to be. They give the weather forecast every couple of hours. I could know what was happening in the world and in the news. I could read a book or a newspaper. Suddenly I got a clock and I could see the time just about. Suddenly things were on the up. And then these 2 ladies were going to go home back to Sweden for months. For summer, and before they went though, they decided to get me they told me they were going to get me a smartphone, and I thought they were going to pay like 20 or 30 or 40 euros for a second-hand. You can get, or you could get a brand new one in Mercadona for 65 or 70 euros. Not Mercadona, the other one, the big one. What's it called? Carrefour. Couldn't remember the name. But no, they walked into a phone shop and they said, "Do you want that one or that one?" And I said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well," I said, that's good enough. But I said, "That one's for an extra 20 euros, you get twice as much storage." "Yeah, have that one then." It's like that, bang, done. Bought me a SIM card. I'm up and running. I had to come up with a new name. I couldn't connect to my old phone and tried to log into Google with my old email and password, and it wants to send a text to the old phone, which destroyed in a flood. So that's where the Delta Mike came from. DM, my initials. I just had to come up with and Delta Mike gets used a lot because it's the NATO phonetic alphabet. So I had to stick the Torrevieja on the end. Delta Mike Torrevieja at gmail.com. And from there, I was online. They gave me enough money to pay for gigabytes, to pay for some data for the next 2 or 3 months. And the rest is kind of history. I started the channel. There was a 10 days. The weather forecast said 10 days of thunder and lightning and rain. And I was in this shack that was perishing. The tarpaulin that the couple had bought me was perished. It was falling apart. You only had to look at it to put new holes in it. And I knew I wasn't going to survive 10 days of torrential rain, thunder and lightning. And I got talking, these 2 guys walked past and Tina went fucking mental. Tina was barking at them and I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, dog. Shush." And they heard that I was English. Started talking to me. One was English, one was Irish, Simon and Damien, and got talking to them, and they were the beginning of the next stage, really. Damien came back a few days later, brought me food and a camping stove, gas camp stove, and a bottle, gas bottle. Over the next few weeks, brought me more and more. Simon came back with an extra tarpaulins, smaller tarpaulins, but bits and pieces. And then he announced, "We've got you a new tent. Second hand, but new to me." And they brought it round, helped me put it up, and away we went. That was the tent before this, and it lasted 7 or 8 months before it got a huge split down the roof. But we just put a tarp over the top and carried on using it. We got more than a year out of use out of it, I think, in the end. And Karen, who you've all met in chat there, Karen and some others were all saying that they'd donate for my next tent when that one was falling apart a year later or whatever. I had all you guys, I had loads of people offering. I had some €100 donations from people and some €50 donations from other people. I had Karen and family saying, no, we'll just buy you a tent. And I was like, no, I've had so many donations, I can't let you do that. So I got her to settle for paying half, she'd pay half and I'd pay the other half. So I'm ever so grateful. Everything Karen has done for me, folks. Karen and family. She even went shopping, bought the thing and brought it out. She stood in the shop and she's there live stream, FaceTime, whatever. And yeah, do you want that one or that one? She's like, no, we're buying it. The salesman's here now. Just make your mind up. Is it this one or that one? I'd had so many donations that by the time I negotiated her down to only paying half, I had money left over by the time I'd paid for my half. Hence the EcoFlow, and later the solar panel and electric cool box. And those just revolutionized everything. I mean, this huge tent, 7 meters by 3 meters, basically it's a 4-bedroom tent, an 8-person tent, 8-man tent. You know how they always fudge these numbers. You'd be painfully squashed together if you did put 8 people in here. But in theory, it's an 8-person tent, with a carpet and an armchair, chest of drawers, big coffee table, TV, 32-inch flat panel TV, fans, electric fans, a slow cooker, electric blanket as of a couple of weeks ago. Fairy lights. I haven't shown you the fairy lights. Those are like my night lights. I leave those on all night, every night. But powered by 3 AAA batteries that I need to recharge every day. Phone. See, the phone that the 2 ladies bought me broke. It stopped charging. I broke the charging port trying to clean it out. It was getting iffy and dodgy, and then it broke. So Karen gave me her old phone, which is actually a luxury phone by most people's standards. What is it? Samsung Z Flip something or other. £1.5's worth or something, brand new when I looked it up. Shh, don't tell Karen that I looked it up. King of the Tramps, folks. I've got an Amazon Fire, an Amazon Kindle Fire tablet. It's an old one. I got that. I've got a few Bluetooth speakers now. I've got a USB powered beard trimmer and hair clippers. I don't know, fuck. I've ignored chat for a while because I wanted to plow through. Let me come back to you, because I will have been ignoring you all a little while. Let's go back. Some really decent people. The Delta Mike Torrevieja thing, yeah. Okay. Thomas is saying they've switched off FM in Norway. Yeah, they were talking about doing that in the UK and I think AM as well, to turn it all digital, because you can cram more channels in the same spectrum, in the same space. But I think they've been protesting. I think they've delayed, and the UK government don't necessarily follow through with their announced plans. So I've missed a lot, folks, haven't I? Chippy says that mice are more destructive than rats. Yeah, but rats just have a bigger revulsion factor. And I don't know about disease-wise as well. If I had to put up with one If I had to put up with either mice or rats inside the tent, it would be mice, not rats. Outside, they can do what the fuck they want, but okay, I've got back to where I was, where Thomas said about lots of rabbits in Spain. Yeah. Rats want food, mice want to make your life hell. I don't know, mate. The rats, sorry, the mice get into food and bags and shit everywhere that they go. They seem to be on the hunt for food. I've got most of my food inside plastic boxes, which has its own drawbacks because once you put stuff away in a plastic box, you're just less inclined to get it back out again and ever use it. I got bags of flour and bags of sugar and bags of drinking chocolate, and some of them I've had fucking months and months and months. I got a box down here that's got onions and things in it, and I think something's going bad. And because I put stuff on top of the box, I just don't get around to getting in there. So yeah, putting stuff away in boxes is what you do to stop the mice and whatever getting it. But my last phone, just speaking about radio, the phone that the two ladies bought me way back did the radio thing, the FM. You plug your headphones in and that becomes the antenna, and the phone had the tuner for FM radio. So that was an additional. I mean, when you look at it, the phone, it's a light. It was a radio. If you've got your gigabytes paid for, if you've got some data paid for, it's all your entertainment. You can download TV programs and films and what have you. If you know what you're doing, if you know the back channels, shall we call them, because I'm not paying for Netflix, and I'm certainly not using their kind of bandwidth. I'm not using 2 gigabytes per hour to watch a fucking TV program. That's almost as bad as Big Clive over on fucking Twitch. There's one for the guys there that are from over on Clive's. If this had been a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to watch him on Twitch because I couldn't have afforded all of that bandwidth, all of that data. Chippy says it seems I've met some really decent people. I have, yeah. I am. It's why I do a thank you section in all of the main TrampCasts, not these specials necessarily, but the main TrampCast on a Sunday night. There's always a thank you section, because of the donations, the PayPal donations, the food. Oh God, this week the alcohol. Fuck. I told you about this bottle of whiskey here. There was also a bottle of brandy from someone whose name I won't mention, Karen. And then today there's 3/4 of a bottle of whiskey from the lads that were from the same guys that brought this. As they were leaving the country and going to the airport, they've dropped off what they'd got left, so they say. And there's another. I get a reputation. Some of the neighbours walk past and say, I've overheard some English speakers talking. There goes the alky, and the assumption or presumption that I'm an alky because I'm homeless. And these are a couple of the more ignorant ones that don't speak and don't wave. I accidentally ended up kind of following them to the supermarket one time, and I got in front of them as we got there, and I got inside. First thing I picked up, it's the first aisle that you go to. It's not that I made a beeline to it, but I picked up 12 beers. It's €3, guys. It's not like I'm burning money buying these Spanish. The supermarket's own brand beer costs like next to nothing. But it's the first item on the first aisle as you go in, my local Mercadona. But these people walk in behind me. See, I told you. Alky. Oh, fuck. What can you do with some people? Try telling them that I'm a successful businessman that built an intranet for a multinational electronics company. No, Alky. He lives in a tent, therefore Alky. I don't know. What do you do? Medicinal. Yeah, I mean, you see, I have my ups and downs like anybody. A lot of people in the comments to my videos will say, "Oh, you're inspirational. How do you stay so positive?" What they don't realize is I only make a video or do a live stream when I'm feeling positive. When I disappear for 2 weeks and don't make a fucking video, it's because I'm not feeling so fucking positive. So if I do get a donation from someone, if someone says, "Here, I'm sponsoring the beer for you for this week," or someone brings me some alcohol in some flavour, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take some. I'll have some. If I've got enough money that I'm secure, if I've got enough money either in PayPal or in my pocket that I feel secure for the next month or two, then yeah, I'll blow €3 or €3.50 on a 12 pack of beer. Steinberg, if anybody's asking. Mercadona, Steinberg, that's their own brand. Lidl is Argus with a U. Consume is called Emdblau or Emd. Have I got one back here? I might have one laying around. Hold on. See, I'm expert enough in knowing the. I can't find the opening on the bag. Well, that's a fail. Oh, there it is. Is this? Oh no, that's Amstel. That's the proper good stuff from the lads the other day. Well, I messed that up, didn't I? No, Mbrow or something is the Consume's own brand. But that's all I get, guys. I don't buy like the Amstels and the San Miguel's and whatever. I buy the supermarket's own brand. It's the cheapest. It's less than half the price of the others. €3 for 12 beers. Come on. And yet some people begrudge me it. This conversation now that I'm having with you will have just cost me 2 subscribers. And probably a couple more over the next week. Guaranteed. You've got some Puritans out there somewhere. Let me go back and see who I'm... Oh, look at this Thomas. They're saying they used to have to brew beer for Yule. It was the law. Failing to do so was finable. I think in the UK, I think I'm right in saying that young men, by law, have to practice archery on a Sunday to keep the foreigners out. I think it's still on the books, although no one's ever done for it. You get some of these old laws that are just left on the books. I don't know whether yours was actionable. I don't know whether they actually did it or not. So if you did it 3 years on the run, you went to jail for not brewing your Yule. Isn't grog yours as well? Grog is that's a Scandinavian alcohol for Christmas, like mulled wine or something. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's the derivation. In English, we have the word grog, and you have a similar word, or at least I think the Swedes do. I don't know whether you all share the. Alcohol is calories, says Chipmunk. I mean, to a certain extent. In Lidl, what the booze is next to the checkout. I don't think it is here. Not the Lidl I used to go to. It was away on the far aisle. Mao, that's the one I can never remember the name of, and I never know how to pronounce because they don't H as a silent in Spanish. So what does that make it? Mao, just Mao. You just ignore the fact that there's a H there. I do like mulled wine at Christmas. Not this one, but the one before when I had the gas barbecue. I did mulled wine. I also did when I have red wine, I always water it down with cola, with cheap supermarket cola. So red wine, the cheapest stuff, the brick as it's called over here, the cardboard wine, €1 per litre. And I would mix that with the cheap supermarket cola, which is 70 cents for 2 litres. So I would mix that and heat that up. So it wasn't just mulled wine, it was mulled wine and cola. And I also, just as an experiment, I tried mulled cola. Just without the wine. Just heated up cola with the cinnamon sticks and whatever the other bit, and a bit of nutmeg, a bit of, I don't think I had star anise or whatever the other things are that you're supposed to put in. Maybe a bit of aniseed, which is similar enough. Mulled cola was actually gorgeous. On it, just fizzy cola. Well, it loses a lot of the fizz, but keeps some. And mulled cola, absolutely gorgeous. You want to try it, guys? If you like mulled wine, just try either watering your red wine down with cola to make it go further, or just mull the cola. It's something you could give the kids. A hot drink in winter, a hot spicy drink, absolutely gorgeous. I first discovered kind of the concept when my tent hit 50 degrees last year with a bottle of cola inside the tent, and I had a drink of cola that night, and it was warm. I mean, well, it wasn't warm, it was hot. Yeah. Look at this, I'm nursing this coffee still, folks. I've got a second one here that I haven't started yet. But I think I've covered the ground I wanted to cover about my my backstory. I keep directing people to TrampCast 001, but I look at the viewing figures for it and nobody watches it, so... Grog, rum mixed, one part rum to 2 parts water. It was part of a sailor's ration. The Aussies stole and perverted the meaning. And that's from Dad Achosky. Also, though, I'm fairly sure that they have a similar word in Scandinavia for something similar. You see the cardboard. Oh, this ones don't have. There is no bag inside. In England, the cheap wine tends to be perry, isn't it? Pear. It's basically pear wine or pear cider, basically, but then flavoured and coloured. This isn't. This is proper real wine. And all for €1. It's fucking brilliant. Cardboardo is a brilliant name. I must have picked it up from somewhere. I can't have coined it. I'm not that clever. I would have got that from someone else. But Bordeaux, cardboardo. You got to portmanteau your words sometimes, haven't you, to make new words. Grog is Australian for beer. Yeah. Here we go. Look, here's Thomas, who's... yeah, you've got those vowels that we haven't got there. That I don't know how you pronounce that one. The O with the line through it. So glog, gleg, glog. I don't know. But yeah, that's the word that I was thinking of. That's similar, like a sweet wine or a toddy. Okay. Is it a Christmassy thing? Is it something you do, or have I just got that wrong? I might have mixed things up there. How long was I gone? I didn't know I was gone until it just said reconnecting. I don't know. Glug, glug, glug. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can see how you get there. I can see that one, Jack Attack. I tell you what I'm going to do, folks. I'm going to move this out of the way. It is that time. We're coming up for 2 hours in, so I'm gonna crack open the... I can't remember who this was from. I think this was the guys the other day. Anthony, Mark, and Sean. One of them's son is in the chat here right now. I think the Amstel was from them. Oh, stretch my legs out. It's only going for a second. Okay. Yeah, cheers, folks. I should do this actually, yeah. Okay, folks. Cheers to the subscribers. And to those of you that have bothered hitting the thumbs up. Am I not worth a thumb? Come on, guys. I don't know. I entertain you for 2 hours. Or 20 minutes or 5 seconds. However long it's been that you've been here. There's probably a different bunch cycling through all the time. There's like, sometimes there's like, do you remember when I was having difficulties with the old phone about the whole portrait landscape thing? I did a TrampCast accidentally in portrait mode, because that's what the phone forced me into. And I got about 300 viewers during the live stream. And they all stayed for, on average, 2 minutes each. No bugger. I don't know whether it was the... I think the fact that I'd done a live stream in portrait meant that YouTube pushed it out to everybody. YouTube are mad keen on portrait mode for everything at the minute for some dumb reason. Because they want to be TikTok, I think. And so they're mad keen. So they pushed this thing out to hundreds of people. But everyone came in, took one look and said, fuck that, why are we talking with a tramp? And left. So during the actual like hour and a half or 2 hour show, 300 viewers, each for 2 minutes. It was particularly particular. Oh, now they're starting to talk in Gaelic. I won't do the obvious jokes. Yeah, cheers, folks. Cheers, everyone. Cheers to the subscribers. Cheers to the people who have done the thumbs up. Cheers to anybody who shares it out there and tells everyone that there's this alcoholic tramp living in a broken down tent in Spain for some fucking reason. Thousands in the bank he's got. He's got thousands in the bank, but he lives in a fucking field with rats and mice. Begging on the internet. What a grifter. Cheers, folks. I should stop with the jokes because some people take them literally. I kid you not, I do lose subscribers when I when I make a comment about being a grifter or a con man. People are funny that way. People are funny. They don't like to think that they're being taken advantage of, and or even that there's a chance of being taken advantage of. So they don't want to take a chance that I might be an actual con man or a grifter. On a serious note, is my passport still valid? It's been through a couple of floods. I was told by the police that it wasn't valid anymore. So now when they ask for ID, because they've refused it when it was offered, I now tell them, no, I haven't got one. Yeah, it's technically possibly still valid, but someone inspecting it would see the water stains and the brown, the brown stains, and probably reject it. Now, whether Spain would be bothered when you're leaving the country, probably not. It's probably more likely that the country you're trying to get into is the one that's going to reject a dodgy looking passport. The country you're leaving probably couldn't give a damn whether you're you or not. Although I have overstayed my theoretical visa. When Brexit finally happened, we were granted a nominal 3-month visa. And because I've been here for years since then, Chippy says it would be valid. I think they would question me thoroughly and do all the, they'd double check all the, what's it called? Biometrics. You can walk over the borders like between Spain and France and all of that, but once you try and leave Schengen to go to the UK, then you have to go through a proper full passport control, and that's when things like whether the police are after you and whether there are warrants and whether you're you and whether your passport's valid, all of that would get looked at more intensely. Whether you've outstayed visas. I'll be dragged into a darkened room and questioned for several hours, I would imagine, about whether I've been working or how have I been surviving. Did I, have I been avoiding tax by working and earning over here? All of those questions that they would be bothered about. So invariably, whatever flight I've booked, I will end up missing. And then have to rebook another one a couple of days later. Or get deported. So it's not going to be fun either way. So yeah, everyone says walk over the borders, and then they joke about getting in a dinghy. Chippy has reasons for hating UK immigration. Did it involve rubber gloves? Did I mention I used to work for Customs and Excise once upon a time? I never mentioned it, did I? In the rundown. That was my sandwich year. That I was in the management consultancy in what was then Her Majesty's Customs and Excise in Raleigh Keys, Manchester. Yeah. So I worked alongside people that had worked at airports and that had done the rubber gloves. Show them this channel. Yeah, that's another reason that I've maintained this channel, is to have some. When someone says, "Where have you been all these years? What have you been doing? What's the story?" Also, the police came here once and they asked me how long I'd been in this field, and I said a year, and they said, "No, you haven't." I said, "I fucking have." And he says, "No, you're a liar. There's no way you've been in this field in a tent for a year." So I showed him the. I said, "You're right. It wasn't a tent. It was 6 sticks and a tarpaulin for 4 months or whatever." But yeah, I have been in the field a year. He was calling me a liar, which is what I hate about them, when they're so sure that they're right, and they've got the arrogance, and "You're a liar. You're lying to me. I'm going to arrest you for lying to a police officer." And I'm like, bollocks to you, pal. I can prove that I've been in this field this long. Yeah, Tina can't do the walkie thing because, yeah. Oh, Chippy worked for Cousin. You did, or the wife did? '94. I was 97. Like I said, it was a sandwich year in my degree. What was then called sandwich years. Now they call them internships, don't they? We didn't have that word back then. The only interns you have ever heard of were it was a medical thing, wasn't it? Doctors and nurses did an internship as part of their early training. After they qualify, and then they go into hospitals. Okay. Okay, yeah, that whole trying to prove that you're really married or that you're really in a relationship, and all of that malarkey. I can imagine that being frustrating. I can imagine that being frustrating. We didn't have the word internships for anything like that back then. It was, as far as I remember, like I was an adult before I ever heard the word used outside of a medical context. Doctors did an internship, I think, after they've got their degree or whatever it is that they get, their masters, whatever, and then they do a year in each department or whatever, don't they? They do a turn in casualty, or the emergency room, as the Americans would call it, and then they do a surgery. They stay in surgery for a little while, and they do a tour of all the different things. But borrow the MP5. That's Heckler and Koch in it, I think. MP5, Heckler and Koch. Yeah. Yeah, they probably have. You're probably on a list now. You're probably on a list now just for asking that. Can I borrow your machine gun, mate? Machine pistol, I think. And that's what the MP stands for. Machine pistol. Almost all machine guns, apart from the heavy They're all pistols. Technically, they take small rounds. They're all small fire ammo. On all the lists. Yeah, like Big Clive when he's travelling with all the electronics and sometimes chemicals and whatever else. Technical people are all on all the lists. Yeah. Anybody got any more questions about my history, or are we done with that? We can talk about anything else you want. We can just talk about some random life experiences and more random shit. Or you can get off. A lot of you have probably got places to be. It's Valentine's night. You not got wives and girlfriends. Hopefully not both. I'm not advocating for that, but yeah, I thought that would have been why you ended up in the USA, Chippy. I knew that you'd been over there a while. When you talk about the way different words are used in different places and the different types of food that we have, or how sometimes we use the same word for different things. Fucking what's that? A little mosquito. Are you all right with only half my face lit up? I've only got the one light on. I've got another light I can put on if I need. I hate you, babe. I hate you. Did I? I'm not sure if there is a... No, there's not. Oh, hold on. Oh, look at this. Okay, babe. Hold on. I thought I'd got some somewhere. Just wait. See, it's the TARDIS. There's always something within an arm's reach somehow. Sometimes it's dog treats, sometimes it's a mouse, but there's always something within arm's reach. Here you go, babe. There's my girl. I don't think you guys saw her. I'll try and get her on camera when I give her the next one. Oh, well, that took a turn. Sorry to hear that, Chippy. I don't think I knew that. I've got movement outside. Let's see if we can do this. Hold on. No, not that. This. Here you go, sweetie. Here you go. Treats for Tina. One more. And I'm back. There you go, sweetie. You say hello to the peoples. Say hello to the nice peoples. Yeah. Oh, no, it's not taking my click. Okay. That's all it takes to get her more excited and more interested. Bit of food. You might as well have the last one, eh, babe? Come on. Kisses for daddy. Kisses for daddy. Oh, I missed. I missed the bin. I'll have to pick that up later. See if we can get chat back up. I've lost chat. And now it's not taking my touch. Come on, you piece of Okay, live chat. See what we've been missing. Tina is cute. She is. Until you need her to do something and then she's a monster. Did you ever watch the video where she ran down the side of the tent with dragging a log behind her? Well, it's not that you get the aftermath, you don't get the picture of her doing it, but where she cuts the tent all down its length. I was so angry. Fuck. Death and destruction. Like I said, you don't actually see somebody arrived to bring me stuff and Tina ran and I'd got her tied to a log just to slow her down. And she just dragged the log right along the edge of the tent. So floor level. And it tore, not this tent, the previous one, but it tore it kind of from end to end. I love it a bit, but sometimes I could fucking strangle her. That's my girl, though. Death and destruction. Aren't you, babe? Death and destruction. Hey. Let's see whether we can... Can we show you being cute while I tickle you? I'll tickle your chin. No, you went and looked away. Come here. Come here. Hey, come on. Yeah, that's a nice cuddle. That's a nice cuddle. You're still chewing your sweets. Come on. All these nice people, they love Tina. Can you see that there's one ear up, one ear down? You might not be able to see that here. Can I turn that? I can't turn the light on in this app, can I? Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, is that new? I wasn't able to do that on the previous phone in the YouTube app. But there she is. I'll turn it off now. Like you said earlier, she's not too keen on bright lights. Oh, I'm clicking in the wrong place. I'm going into chat when I wanted to switch cameras. I'm rubbish at this. I'm rubbish at this YouTubery. I've only been doing it for 18 months. Coming up on 1,200 subscribers, folks. I'm on 1196, I think the last time I looked. So if you could spread the word, if you've got a channel and a following, or if you know someone with maybe 1 million subscribers, I have been lucky with the people that have promoted me so far. I've had some good support from guys with fairly sizable channels. I got, I recognise that the content's quite niche. It's a guy living in a field. It's a tramp in a field, basically. It's not going to be to everyone's cup of tea, not to everyone's taste, and at times it's been difficult to grow the channel. Kind of one step forward, two steps back sometimes. And I don't know whether it's like YouTube pruning bots or whether it is people genuinely unsubscribing. I don't know, but I do seem to go backwards more. I got to 1,000 relatively quickly, I thought, but it seems to have stagnated since I hit 1,000. I shot through 1,000 up to 1,050, 1,060, like in no time. But since then, it's kind of stagnated a little bit. It's been a slow grind, and I haven't had much content because we don't go anywhere. We don't get anywhere. We don't do anything because her ladyship here isn't as mobile as she once was. Hey, babe. So it's difficult. It's not like I can go on a nice 20-kilometer hike and film a nice video of the entire trip. Literally, I haven't been out of this field I've been shopping like 2 or 3 times since Christmas, and that's only across the road to the Chino Bazaar. I haven't been to the actual supermarket since Christmas. Been to the cliff tops maybe 3 times. Now we've got this elasticated belt, and I kind of can support her back end while she walks. We've actually made it to the cliff tops a couple of times, and one day she did it. I said about 5 o'clock in the morning. She did it. This was before I'd put the elasticated belt on, so she made it to the cliff tops just walking with me normally. For some strange reason, she just fancied walking more that day. But it's 5 in the morning, and I'd left the camera in the tent, so there was no content from that. So we've got reduced opportunities for content. I did the cookery video, didn't I? Chorizo and chickpea curry. Don't make it. If you make it, substitute half of the chorizo for some chicken. Otherwise, the chorizo just clashes a little bit with the curry flavour. Just, it wasn't ideal. It wasn't perfect. It was all right. It was hot and filling for a tramp. But if you guys want to make it, substitute some of the chorizo for a different meat. Something a bit plainer. Some pork or chicken or something. I'll maybe do another cookery video sometime soon. I did some rice pudding once upon a time and overfilled the pan and made a bit of a mess of it. It was all right for what it was. But I might do that again soon. I've got a bit of spare milk at the minute. I've got rice, I've got sugar. That's basically all you need, isn't it? Maybe a bit of cinnamon or nutmeg. Got something like that laying around somewhere. Maybe not nutmeg, but definitely cinnamon. So I might do another rice pudding video. Yorkshire, we were talking about Yorkshire puddings. Was that last night? On Scruff Dogs. I've got a Yorkshire pudding tray. I haven't really got an oven. But I might be able to fashion something together. I might be able to knock some Yorkies up. Be a bit of a performance to try and fake an oven above a gas ring. I should be able to do something. It turns out I'm quite good at jerry rigging shit when I need to. Who knew? I didn't. I was never any good at anything. Dunno. I'm rambling, guys. I'm rambling. Let's bring the chat up and see what I'm missing out on. Tramping a field with dog. Yeah, that adds to it. That adds a bit of an extra draw. Tina is cute. Okay, I'm up to date here. No, we haven't got Tina fitted out with a pram. To answer Terence's question, I got a guy looking at taking the frame of an old lady shopping trolley and seeing if you can manage a harness and give her wheels at the back end. He's not too sure, but he's looking at some plans, and I don't know whether he'll have the time while he's over here to get it done this visit. But I've got this elasticated belt around her waist now, and I don't carry her. I don't like take all the weight. I'm not lifting her around and dragging her around, but she does her own walking, and then when the back end falls either way or collapses down, I'm there to add extra support, keep her centered, stop her falling into her own mess or falling off to the sides when we're walking through the bushes. Chippy's got to look after his mum. You lost me there, Jack Attack. What are we saying? Buzzword, current trending word. What buzzword is the trending word? Upside down big pot pan. Yeah, but it's got to be an upside down pot that hasn't got plastic handles on the side. I've watched Atomic Shrimp for years. Yeah, he does a good job at shopping the basics, but obviously UK based. But yeah, I watched him make rice pudding. He basically tried to live on a bag of rice for a week one time. A bag of rice plus whatever staples were in the cupboard. Tina 4x4 mode activated. Yeah, when she gets the wheels. Yeah, she'll be 4-wheel drive again. 4-paw drive. Use buzzwords for TrampCast title. Yeah, I could do that. I've never really chased the algorithm and stuff, you know. I mean, I could always like stick a picture of Asmongold or something on the thumbnail. Got nothing to do with anything, but some people will just see his picture and click on, and away we'll go. Or stick Donald Trump on the thumbnail. I'm not doing politics, just is this, I think my light's losing brightness, is it? Hold on. Have you noticed a drop in? Yeah, the bright isn't as bright as it once was. Hold on, what have we got? No, that's that one. Where's this one? That's... Oh, no, that one won't work. That's only for the phone. I haven't got an A to C. No. Oh, well. It is what it is. You'll have to put up with me fading out, guys, as the light dims. Or we'll bring it to an end soon, maybe. Shall we bring it to an end in 5 minutes? We'll bring it to an end on 2:30. Fading to black, yeah. The lights, I've had it on. This light is supposed to go. I think it's supposed to do 4 or 5 hours on its highest setting, and I normally have it on its dullest setting, and it'll do like 16 hours on its dullest. But maybe it's maybe overused. Charging it every day, maybe its internal battery's losing capacity, and it's not what it once was. Let me just see if I can kill the. Yeah, I got you. Killed the mozzie. Oh, there's another one there. Look. It's not actually a mozzie, that second one, but little flies attracted to the light, even though the light's getting dim. Let me entertain you. No, what did I do? There's supposed to be 2 other lights in here. I don't know. Here's one. What did I do with the other one, Tina? Am I sat on it or something? What did I do? This tent is a fucking TARDIS. Oh, it's a hot water bottle. I got this one, folks. I got this one. Let's just... Whoa, fuck. I got a shock there. I looked here and it was dark. I thought I'd lost you. I was looking at my tablet, not at my phone. How's that? Is that a bit too much? It's quite a stark light. Quite... Well... Windy, the weather app. Yeah, I'm finding it useful. Not... It's part of my mix. It hasn't taken over from the others. I switch between 2 or 3 different things now. But it's in the mix. I like it in particular, the fact that it tells me about the strength of the gusts of wind. The other apps just tell you the average wind speed. And I can be sitting here one day and it says, oh, 20 kilometers an hour, and it's like a gentle breeze. And another day it says 20 kilometers an hour and the fucking tent's getting blown away. Oh, now I can look on the windy app and it'll say, yeah, 20, but with gusts of 55. Now I can understand why and when it's going to be rougher out here. So I'm finding it useful. It's I haven't adapted to it fully though. I still struggle with just starting it and getting it to show me the weather for where I am. I have to like zoom in and click on the little love heart or whatever it is that I've anchored there. But yeah, it's a good addition to the toolbox. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay, what we're going to talk about for the next 2 minutes. It's been good though, guys. I will probably download this and edit out some of the chatty bits and make a more compact version of that kind of backstory. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do it somewhere between half an hour and an hour, and I think I failed. I think even pared down, it'll be an hour and a half. That might still... The fuck? Did you hear that? I think we've got some vandals up at the garage, at the top of the petrol station, at the top of the field. Tina, shush. Hopefully it's just yobs and they'll pass by. I just listen and check that they're not coming this way. I am tooled up if needed. If someone's walking along, they're smacking all the metal lamp posts and stuff, and then there was a big something crash. They often, the yobs, they'll pick up these scooters, you know, there's a company out here, I don't know whether you got them back in the UK or anywhere else, Hobo. Oh, it's like happy but with an O. Hopo. They rent out the scooters and people will pick them up and just throw them into the hedge or into a sign or into a lamppost. Hold on, what am I missing out on here? Oh, look at this. Someone... Is it Adam and Mel? Ordered a walking aid for Tina. Oh shit. Thank you. That's wow. I deserve a holiday, says Terence. Why? What have I done to deserve a holiday? I just sit here and drink beer. Some people think I live the life of Riley. I'm like, I get to not work. I have no responsibilities other than trying to stay alive and look after my dog. And I get to just watch YouTube videos all day and chat with you guys and beg beer and then sit around drinking beer all day. This is the impression that I give sometimes. So I'm not sure, Terence. Why do I deserve a holiday? I am surrounded by yobs, and I occasionally have to go out and intervene with things. There was a video, I never released it. There was one time I went to get water back when the foot wash used to be in use, and I was on the way back, and there was this guy. There was two women. There was a man and a woman arguing with a woman, and the guy has got hold of the woman. He's got his hand. He's got one hand on her chin, and he's got the other hand on her breast. And him and this older woman are arguing with this younger woman, and it looked like. I thought at first he might have been like the boyfriend, the woman's boyfriend, and he was holding the girl back from attacking her mum or something. But I later thought, because we've got a whorehouse on the main road up here, I later thought maybe the girl was a working girl trying to get away, and the madam and one of the henchmen was holding this girl back. But I intervened. I stepped in where angels fear to tread, and made them stop and let go of her. And I stood and videoed them for a while. And then she joined in, hating me with the other two. And then they were like following me back to my camp. I walked past the camp and around and came in a different way so as not to be too obvious. I didn't want them coming and like setting fire to the tent in the middle of the night. So I did a video about how scared I was and about what had happened, but I never released the video of it was just so strange. This man holding this woman by the mouth. He's got his hand over her mouth and he's got his hand right on her tit. And to stand in the street doing that it's just so weird. It's so wrong. So I had to intervene because you do, don't you? I do. And there was a time when I just started one of the TrampCasts. I'll have to locate which one that was. I've no idea what episode it was. I got all set up inside in the tent, got set up, pushed the button to go live, started to say hello, and then there was squealing brakes and like a car crash type sound up on the main road. So off I went to see if anybody needed help or medical attention or call the police or whatever. But by the time I got up there, everyone was just driving away. Someone had slammed on brakes and got close to hitting, but I don't think they'd hit. But everyone was just going by the time I got there. That was a strange TrampCast because I got back, I just got settled so I carried on broadcasting the whole time. I just got sat down and then these people came walking in through the field to say hello to Tina and me. Yes. So that was a weird one. And I've missed the time I was gonna see that. I didn't think I had anything to say. We were gonna end on the 2 hours 30 and we're still going. About to become a YouTube sensation. Yeah, that'd be nice. Okay, folks, I think we're done here. I think I've prattled on long enough. I'm gonna let you all go. Join me Sunday for TrampCast proper. Episode 56, is it this Sunday? It's been a bit of a week with the donations and things. It's lots of booze and lots of food. But cheers, guys. I'm gonna finish. I'll do a quick cheers with you. And then I'll try and finish in the traditional way, if I can. Oh, Chip is back just as we're going. Sorry, mate. We're just about to close up in the traditional way, if we can. Let's see. I gotta get you past that light. So, I fucked it up. Hey, Tina girl. So, from Tina. Oh, I'm glad your mum's okay. That's good. Catch you later, guys. See you on Sunday. Well, I'll see you in Big Clives and Scruffs before then, won't I? If you're in that group. But in the tradition of the channel, from Tina and from me, Delta Mike, out. Awkward moment.